Wait. Hold on here. Yes, we're in control. Gameplay has started. The cutscene is over. And now it's time to move around in a first-person perspective around a room on set paths. Yes, this seems very similar to the first D so far, but we'll see how it's different very shortly. Well, for one thing, we have a free look, since everything is in polygonal 3D graphics this time instead of FMV. Another is that our speed is much faster. See? We move much, much faster than in this game than the first game. Back out. The gameplay is like this when you're inside structures. Once we go outside, we're going to see something completely different. But when we're in structures, yeah, it plays a lot like the first D, but much faster and with more options. And right off the bat, we can see that how this game is quite a bit different in that Lara just picks up a gun lying around. And we will be using that gun. We're going to be using it a lot.
You really can't remember those 8 days after the crash? I wonder if Janny was with you the whole time. Well, I'm sure it'll come back to you in time. Be careful out there.
And we have a lot of little optional cutscenes like that. We didn't actually have to talk to Kim, but we could just because. And there's our inventory. We have items, we have weapons, and we have a camera. Yes, we can take photos in this game. There's absolutely no reason to, but for some reason, they give us a camera. We can take a snapshot of Kim, save that to the VMU. Let's have a look. We can access our saved photos from here. And what do we have? But a horribly compressed JPEG. It has a caption. We can change the caption to whatever we want. But like I said before, there's really no reason to use the camera. We can just use it to take shots, snapshots if we want to, but you don't have to, and it doesn't really benefit you at all to do so. There's a couple parts in the game where I can see why you might want to, because there are a couple parts where you have these passwords that you have to remember. But I just always just wrote them down on paper. I didn't bother with the camera because it takes up a good deal of space on the VMU to actually save these photos. But for the sake of this Let's Play, we'll be taking a lot of photos as we go along, as precious memories of our trek across the wilderness of northern Canada. There's another first aid spray, which we already picked up, but something a little bit different about this one. We get a little cutscene when we pick it up. We didn't get cutscenes for the other ones because I picked those up in free look. There are a lot of items in this game where they rendered these small cutscenes that are only a few seconds long when you pick up items, all individualized. Looks like it took quite a bit of effort, and I really don't know why they bothered with it. But I think this is going to be it for this video. We're going to leave the cabin shortly, and we'll be seeing what lies outside. Time to save. And the thing about this game is that you can save it anywhere, as opposed to the first D, which you couldn't save at all. So, we'll save there, and next time on Let's Play D2, it's time to leave the cabin and exit into the wilderness. But because you might be a little bit confused as to this intro, here's a recap. D2's opening isn't quite as straightforward as the first game, so let's review what just occurred. A meteor comes hurtling towards the Earth from the depths of space, but luckily it slams straight into the Earth's automated defense swastika. The meteor mostly burns up, but a small piece makes it through. Meanwhile, on a plane flying somewhere over northern Canada, we find our heroine, Lara. Keep in mind that this is only the same digital actress from the first game, not the same character. No, the descendant of Dracula was Laura Harris. This one here is Laura Parton. You'll want to remember that, otherwise you'll be very confused later on when Laura's parents are mentioned. Anyway, a man who introduces himself as David strikes up a conversation with her. Though I'm not sure if you can call it a conversation when the other person doesn't actually say anything, but Laura and David start to have a friendly little introduction. But oh dear, terrorists. And these terrorists don't mess around either, as they've snuck fully automatic weapons on board. Also, there's a wizard. We don't get to find out what the terrorists' plan is, as one of them is quickly dispatched by David, who just happens to be packing heat himself. The other hijacker drops his weapon and stares at his hands, as he appears to be having some kind of an episode. So, crisis averted. Well, almost. We have an appearance here by a character from the first game, the Magic Compact. Yes, it's back, and it shows David that the plane is about to be hit by a meteor. David springs into action and drags Laura down the aisle, avoiding the explosion caused by the impact, but leaving them in a poor position to actually survive the ensuing plane crash. But that's okay, because they survive it anyway. Or at least Laura does, because she's found in the snow by Kimberly 8 days later, still alive. Kimberly was another passenger on the plane who somehow survived. She's puzzled about how Laura survived for 8 days, and was also concerned about the disappearance of a little girl that was supposedly with Laura. Laura has no memory of the 8 days. Not that it would matter if she did, since she wouldn't be able to actually tell us anything about them. So this little bit of safety is interrupted when one of the terrorists barges in. Unfortunately, it seems that he was misinformed about what kind of video game he is in, as the first thing he does is get the tentacles out. He proceeds to show Kimberly how they say hello in Canada, but is interrupted by another crash survivor, Parker Jackson. This plane crash suddenly doesn't seem to be as lethal as you would think it would have been, but Parker drives off the unwanted guest, only to be driven off himself as Kim is oddly angry towards him. We find out that red blood equals human and green blood equals monster. Parker hints that there might be some moral conflicts later on involving being able to trust whether this blood test is always accurate, or whether it's right to kill monsters because they might be able to turn back into humans later. He hints at this, but it never actually happens, so go ahead and kill as many monsters as you want. Laura then finds a convenient Uzi in a cabinet, and Kim suggests that maybe she should go look for the little girl, even though Laura is wearing completely inappropriate clothing for hiking through snow. Okay, so you got that? To sum up, Laura, gun, snow, plant monsters. Also, there's a wizard.